choose to work with teens and adults?
Well, originally, when I went into private practice, for the first, I would say, 7 years or so, I actually worked with children. So I'm trained to work with children and with teens and with adults and basically doing family therapy. And I loved working with children, but it's slower work. Working with children is really about sitting down and playing and having projects for them and sand trays and doll houses and all the rest of this, because they can't really sit down and have a conversation like a teenager would or like an adult would. Over the years, because I've been practicing for so long, my little kids turned into teenagers. And I stuck with a lot of them. They would come in and out of therapy, and I realized that I really enjoyed the issues of teens. And I had always worked with adults, because when you work with children, you have to work with their parents. You can't just work with a child and not work with a parent. When you work with kids, little ones, you have 1 hour a week. So try to put that against all the other hours in their lives, and you'll realize that without the cooperation of parents, you're not going to make a drop in the bucket. So you need to work with parents if you're working with small children. So I had always had the adult experience, and it just felt really natural to move into teens and adults. And actually, when I had my own kids, I had so much time on the floor with them that I wasn't sure that I wanted to spend 40 more hours a week on the floor with everybody else's kids. And it made more sense to work with teens and adults. Want to piece of that?
Don't get in there. All done.
Why did you choose to work with kids?
I got into it because I was working in a social psych lab, and I was really interested in, like, I guess, how people navigate social interactions, and I thought it'd be interesting to look at it in like a younger group of people. I mean, I guess like because I already knew what adults would do, I thought it'd be interesting to see like how that changes over time from the time you're a really young kid, like into adulthood.
There is a need for child psychologists.
Definitely. Like I think I told you earlier this week when we were texting, but like there are lots of different kinds of child psychologists. So obviously like the kids who have like developmental issues or like mental issues, it's really helpful to have someone that they can talk to and that knows about their development and can prescribe like necessary medication or just therapy. But I think it's also like interesting and necessary to understand like how humans think and how humans know things by looking at how it develops over time. So like I'm the type of child psychologist that I study like normally developing kids, and I play little games with them to see like what they know about like language and what they know about like other people. Um, and I feel like that kind of thing helps give us a better understanding of human psychology in general. So,
How did you become interested in psychology?
I first became interested in psychology taking classes in college, and I majored in psychology and did a clinical concentration. So I'm specifically interested in clinical psychology, and I took a clinical psychology class, clinical fieldwork, abnormal psychology, classes like that, and I just found it all really interesting and decided that I wanted to pursue it as a career. And I had originally been thinking that I wanted to be maybe a teacher, maybe a doctor, knew I wanted to work with people and with kids. Um, but then once I started taking classes, I figured out exactly what I wanted to do.
What did you do with your psychology degree?
So right now I just have a bachelor's degree. I just graduated from college in May 2012, and I am taking 2 years off before hopefully going back to school to pursue a PhD in clinical psychology. So right now I'm working as a research coordinator at the Depression Clinical and Research Program at Massachusetts General Hospital. So it's great. It's a lot of research exposure and clinical exposure, and I'm working on about 5 different studies, and they're all looking at different treatments for depression. And it's a good way to just get exposure to the field and kind of narrow my interests. I'm interested in depression, but I think ultimately I'm really looking more towards a focus on trauma and trauma spectrum disorder.